Are you registered on SAM.gov, looking at opportunities and still stuck because nothing is happening? In this video, I'm going to tell you 3 reasons beginners get stuck and what works instead, so you can stop guessing and start moving forward with clarity. I'm Dr. Loren Josephs. I've been a government contractor since 2008 and have won millions of dollars in contracts at the federal, state, and local levels, as well as from private corporations and foundations. I've also shown many other business owners how to win contracts. So if you're stuck where you are right now, I can tell you that it's not because you're incapable. I started exactly where you are. The issue is that no one has walked you through how the system actually works. Government contracting is a system that is learnable. It just has a specific order to it. It has a rhythm to it that is confusing until you are informed about the specific steps. So today I'm going to break down 3 specific reasons that keeps you stuck and what to do instead. No hype. I can't promise you shortcuts. What I can promise you are practical moves you will make that will move you in the direction towards your goal. So the reason number 1 is that people are stuck and that you may be stuck is that you are doing a lot of activity, but you may not have a clear target. You might be following the advice, just register and start bidding. And you registered on SAM.gov. You got your unique entity identifier. Maybe you even pull together a capability statement and you're looking at all that thinking, okay, what am I supposed to actually do with all of this? The thing that is missing, that is not spoken about clearly, is that government contracting is not one big store called the government, right? It's thousands of individual buyers across different agencies, and each one buys in its own way. So let's make this about you right now. Can you name 3 to 5 specific agencies that are a strong fit for what you sell? Not any agency that needs help, actual agency names. If that felt hard, or if you drew a blank, it means that you're missing the first anchor. What is important in this phase is focused market research, not more random action. Okay? And there's a simple order that you can follow. First, you have to pick a lane that you're going to move in. And likely the thing that would be easiest to help you to do that is to describe what you already do best in one narrow sentence, then match it to how the government categorizes that work. For every type of function that you can perform or any goods that you can sell to the government, there's a code that's attached to that. That's called the NAICS code. The NAICS means North American Industry Classification System, NAICS. And you don't have to be a NAICS expert. You just need to know the code that matches what you actually provide right now. And you also need to find out what agencies already buy that thing that you sell. Not who might buy it someday, who is already spending real money on it right now. And finally, it's important to look at how often they buy it and who they have been awarding it to. The beauty of the federal government specifically is that all of this is public record. You can easily search to find this information. And what you're looking for is patterns, recurring agencies, similar descriptions, rough dollar amounts, not perfection, but to get an idea if who is purchasing whatever it is that you are selling. Okay? Once you know that, you're no longer just a business somewhere in SAM. You're someone building around a real buyer instead of just guessing in the dark. Okay, so that's the first reason that people get stuck, and then how you would address it. The second reason that keeps you stuck is chasing random opportunities instead of building a pipeline, right? So sometimes you log into SAM.gov, you type a keyword, and a wall of results hits you, right? I've been in that situation before. You scroll through the results, you skim it, you feel overwhelmed because nothing feels clear. Some days you might just close out the tab and tell yourself you'll check back again later. You may or may not. Other days you think, this is close enough. You might pick one that's really not aligned, but you want to do something. So you just submit if you have gotten to that point. And it's not a discipline issue, right? It's an issue of overwhelm, and it is a system issue. SAM.gov isn't broken. It might feel clunky and you might feel overwhelmed, but it's not broken. But using it like a scavenger hunt keeps you stuck. What works better, especially where you are right now, if you're just starting out, is a simple opportunity system that repeats the same way every week. So opportunities come to you instead of you having to wander through SAM.gov, hoping to bump into something good. And so here's one way to set that up. You can use filters and save searches so relevant notices are emailed to you. Okay? So if you're not using saved searches yet, you're working way too hard for too little signal. Okay? And the next thing to address this issue is to focus on a small number of agencies and a small number of contract types, because not all opportunities are equal or realistic for where you are. Okay, you have to be able to know that you have the capacity to respond to something large in scope. So you might just initially be looking at smaller opportunities. Right now, you don't need to chase every flavor. Just pick the one that matches your capacity, that matches your past experience, and that matches your risk tolerance. And finally, track a short list of realistic opportunities. So not 50 tabs open at the same time, a short list, maybe 3 to 10 that you can actually research, okay, that you can shape and respond to well. You build momentum in government contracting by being consistent with a few good fits, not by spraying bids at everything that pops up and seeing what sticks. Okay, so if you've been bouncing between random searches and random bids, you're not failing. You just haven't had a repeatable way to filter and focus yet. Okay, so the third reason that you may be feeling stuck is that you are writing proposals before you have built any real positioning. Here's another secret no one talks about. The businesses that win don't show up cold. They have context. They do their homework. They understand what that agency has been buying and what it cares about. And they mirror their language to the agency's priorities. Okay? So I want to be careful I'm not saying that you need insider hookups or a cousin in the agency, but relationships do matter. The government is made up of people, and people like to do business with people who they know. So here's a simple order you can follow. If there are opportunities, agency days that you can show up to introduce yourself to the buyer, learn more about what they do, many of these are online, then take advantage of that. If you've seen a closed opportunity and you have questions about it, reach out to the point of contact. Ask questions during the period when questions are allowable, because once the notice of funding opportunity comes out, there's a blackout period where you can no longer ask questions. So in the period of time where you have found something of interest, take that time to develop a relationship with the person on the other side. Ask questions so that you can become a known entity. In this time, you should also be crafting capability statements for one specific buyer, not for the entire government. So you want to refine your capability statement to not make it too generic to matter to anyone. Okay? And it's really important to learn how to show evidence that you understand the agency's mission and needs. And you do that with the language that you use in any communication that you have, with anything that you share with that buyer. And one practical way to do that, to learn all of these steps, to dip your feet in the water, is through subcontracting, to support part of the work under a prime contractor. Okay? Subcontracting lets you learn the market, build past performance, and share risk instead of trying to do everything yourself on day one. Okay? So just a quick recap to tie it back to where you're started. If you're registered and nothing is moving, it's not because government contracting doesn't work. Most of the time, it's because one, you don't have a clear target buyer. Two, you're chasing random opportunities instead of building a focused pipeline. And three, you're writing proposals before you're positioned with any specific agency. When you fix those three, the same system that felt so frustrating starts to feel less chaotic and more like a process you can learn. Contracts can absolutely generate revenue, but no one can promise you an award or a timeline. What you can control starting right now is your focus, your fit, and your consistency. So here's what you can do with this today. Pick one agency, just one. Then do this. Look up what that agency has actually bought that connects to your NAICS and your offering. Write down the patterns you see, the types of work, the contract types, rough dollar ranges. That's your starting point. From there, every other decision gets easier. And if you want someone to walk that path with you step by step, please subscribe. I'll offer you no fluff, just the process explained in plain language for people exactly where you are right now, because I was exactly where you are right now. I'll see you on the next video.